All right. Sorry for the little bit of delay there. You can blame that on.
That was all me.
Blame that on Jake.
100% me.
I think I had my mic turned down. Yeah, anyways, you can blame the delay on Jake here. We're back in and good to go now. So, what do we have here? Do we have any, we get just a couple people, it looks like. Get rid of that. All right. So, what's going on?
Scrambling to get work done, you know?
Yeah. Feel that. Same here. Make sure I get all my stuff. We're good. Yep. Okay, cool. And I even added little details. See? We got who you are and where you're from.
Oh, look at you.
So, yeah, anyways. Ryan Hoblick with Late Apex Performance Coatings, and with me is Mr. Jake from Turn 13 Motorsports.
As it says on the screen.
Yeah, beautiful, right? Just little details here and there, trying to, make things a little bit better. What do you got going on in the shop this week, Mr. Jake?
Well, we put some ceiling up the other day.
We did.
That was fun. I've had a lot of, as we talked about the other day, a lot of print jobs. that aren't actually stacks. Yeah, I bring that to show you, but I don't know if I can put it on camera. So.
Yeah. I kind of figured that, so I didn't grab it over here. But had some stacks go out. I know. Remember you telling me that?
Yeah, shipping some stacks out for some YouTube videos. Gonna do some reviews, so maybe we'll put a link to the YouTube videos
for sure
when they come out or something like that.
Yeah, as soon as that pops up, we'll have to and maybe even like show part of that clip.
Yeah.
On here, just little snippets of it, because my boy's gonna be famous. Not that you already are. You do some stuff for Mr. Ebe or 650 Ebe, whatnot. So yeah, he's got the famousness.
The famousness. Actually, beyond the YouTubers, I think I'm a lot more proud of having parts in race bikes.
Yeah.
Like actually on the grid. Like YouTubers is cool just because like it's a big audience, and it always the traffic on Shopify always explodes when I get a YouTube video with it or something. But like having it on a actual bike, like in a racing platform, that's a lot cooler.
Yeah, for sure. And that I'm different because I'm just decorating a cake, as I said. But I've had quite a few bikes that they're on not super bike level, obviously, but in the MA grid that are running. I mean, some back marker, some are mid pack, whatever. So that's kind of cool to see that. And then
I thought it was cool that you did CJ stuff.
Oh, that's right. CJ LaRoche. I painted his bodywork, and me being lazy just didn't get a chance to like get a sticker for him. So that kind of. But I'll send that to what's his Craig, if they're still running that bodywork, if he hasn't crashed or whatever, to get my logo on there, because that would be sweet to have that in Super Sport this year.
Yeah. Wow, that picked up all that, by the way.
I know.
Gurgling.
I'll mute it next time. So besides the stack stuff, what else you got over there? Because I saw a couple different bikes. There's like 3 different bikes on lifts and stuff.
Yeah, I just got another Grom dropped off with the cases blown in half. The engine grenaded.
And then that Z125.
No, that is the Grom. It's just green.
I thought it was a Z125.
It's just a green Grom. So yeah, I got that in. I got that project bike back that might someday turn into a cafe racer. That CB650.
Yeah, that's the one you were asking me about carbon stuff on. Can't wait for that. Yeah, I have finished up half of the parts for Pony. I was waiting on the gold to come in, which came in today, so I got those wheels stripped.
Is that a compressor housing over there?
Yeah, HX something. It's 6767. I did. It's for Cummins. I did his valve cover last year, I think, and he's wanting to match the new turbo housing to that. Got these parts of this guy just wanted stripped and blasted, so I got those stripped. I'm going to blast them tomorrow. That Fury got dropped off today. Kind of waiting on, I don't like yellow, but actually I don't mind that bike. With the silver frame and the black wheels, there's something about that silver frame, and I typically don't like silver frames. Black is generally kind of nice because it blends in, but for whatever reason that it pops for me. But the wheels are kind of like a matte black, kind of shitty finish or whatever, the OEM stuff. And he wanted chrome, and that was kind of a debacle trying to get that done. So we're going to go gloss black. And I just kind of mentioned, I'm like, that frame kind of popped so much around the motor and stuff. Maybe you do, gloss black, and we do the rally stripes, from the Camaro wheels or something, or even the Dodge or whatever they have those.
Yeah.
I'm like, just that silver, just, and that might just bring that frame in, because you're not going to coat that. It's a brand new bike.
Yeah,
this thing's brand new. So he's like, yeah, I think we might do that. And then they were kind of wanting to do the bars, and I was like, dude, I'd kind of leave the bars alone because the rest of the forks and stuff are all satin or matte. And I said, if you want to do that and gloss, we can do that too. I'll just have Jake come over or bring the bike over to you when I'm done with the wheels, and you pull the front end, and you can do all those fork seals and stuff.
What did he want to do with the bars?
He wouldn't do them gloss black, but they're like, they're like a matte or satin. And like, I just told him, I said, it would, for me, looking at it, I said, no, it's totally your call. But, with the top tree being satin and stuff, your eye's going to go to how bright those bars are.
Yeah.
And it's just going to look kind of out of place. I'm like, if it were me, if I was going to do them gloss black, I would do everything gloss black. Hold on a second. We got some. Yep, I can't read this for whatever reason.
I need to open it back up so I can see if there is. Oh, Nathan.
Yeah.
Have you considered doing some? I mean, I haven't considered doing like a class or anything on it. I've definitely gone through and done basic stuff with people, like whenever I do simple stuff like setting up sag and stuff like that, I'll go over it like with the customer, because like I'll have them come over and sit on it, even if they're kind of like my same build. I'll have them sit on it and everything, and I'll kind of go through it, and I kind of teach them what I'm doing, and then how to play with their compression and rebound adjusters, like actually at the track or on the street or something like that, and show them that, it's turns out, and they can just write that down, and then they can play with it all they want, and they don't have to be scared. They can go back to their basic setup and stuff. But as far as like an actual kind of class setup, like getting, 6, 8, 10 people sitting in there or something like that, I've never gave thought to that, no.
Trying to get rid of this thing now that I brought it up. Now I can't get rid of it.
The comments?
Well, just the one.
Oh.
Trying to. Sorry.
You do a lot of suspension, Nathan. Why don't you do it?
Right.
Unless you do already, then cool, I guess.
Yeah, that's like it. I don't know why that's everything.
I have given serious thought on multiple occasions to buying a shock dyno / fork dyno. I just I can't get myself to pull the trigger on it. I want it, but I don't focus as much on suspension.
Jesus. Sorry, I'm just got shit going on here. Trying to move this thing so we can see and grab something else. Okay. Yeah, like I do my own stuff. I used to do a lot of suspension rebuilds and stuff. I can't do shocks, obviously, but I do a lot of, I guess, teaching a little bit, like as much as knowledge as I have from what I've learned over the years, reading the Suspension Bible, dealing with Dave Moss and stuff, which I recommend, like, honestly, anybody. I'm not very good at baselining, like normal baseline. I would do baseline setups for people, which is just set up sag and stuff, street riding, 35 mil, et cetera, et cetera. Track setups are a lot different. I mean, I can dial you in for weight and be like, okay, here's where we're going to set the compression and what the rebound looks like, whatever, and see if we can get you like general application, but like, that's for like beginners, novice, or like just beginning intermediate. When you start getting faster, it's a lot of those rules, those basic principles go way out the door. I mean, like sag, we don't fuck with sag at all anymore. It's all, because like as long as you have like 5 to 10 millimeters of free sag, like we don't give a shit about rider sag, because like you probably know, World Superbike, et cetera, whatever. These guys weigh like 150 pounds, and they're running a spring that's insanely heavy because they're on the gas super hard aggressively, and they're
like,
on the brakes super hard aggressively.
When you get into like full track riding and you're fast, like the normal sag stuff totally goes out the door. Like, calling for like whatever, if you're 130 pounds and it's like, hey, you need 0.85 springs in the front, right? Like, cool, but you're really good at braking. Those don't work at all. No, you just completely collapse the front end.
Now you're going to like 9.5s or 1s.
Yeah, exactly. I think actually I want to say we went through that with Hayden because his was pretty close. I think Hayden was kind of around the 180, 200, somewhere in that region. So kind of like my build. And his front springs, per the basic SAG recommendations and stuff like that, they're a little heavy for him, right? But like it's just a track bike, and so the better he gets on the front end, like the better it'll be. I told him he could get springs, and for the time being it would feel a little better, but when he becomes more confident in the braking and faster and faster and faster, you're just gonna have to go to heavier springs anyways.
For sure. And Nathan, that's awesome. If you do have him come out or whatever, definitely, like, I'd love to meet him. Like, I've used him quite a few times. I do email suspension tuning with him. I haven't done the video one because normally, like, if he gives me some pretty good starting settings, then I can kind of work off of that. My thing is, like, especially on the 660, since it was kind of like a new bike and unknown, and now we have new suspension stuff, and I don't know how this guy does it, where it's like, I mean, it's a brand new bike, and these are cartridges, and it doesn't matter what cartridge it is. It doesn't matter what shock it is. You tell them what your setup is and kind of what your pace is, et cetera, and he's going to give you like, okay, well here, let's start with this amount of preload in it, this amount of shock height, this amount of compression. And then, for the front, okay, you want your ride height to be here, you want your compression and rebound to be setting here, and then go out and ride it like 75% or whatever it is. And let's see here. Hold on a second. Got all these. I got to start deleting these. I'll get to your message here once I get. Anyways, and then after that, I can start kind of reading the tire a little bit. Depends on the tire. Like the Bridgestones are a lot easier to read than the Pirellis, that's for sure. But once I get to a point where I'm like, okay, the wear's pretty good, and then I start getting some weird stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if this is pressure or geometry or whatever, and I start to like.
That's when it gets tricky because you're like plus PSI. Plus some, spring preload.
Yeah, and it's
minus some rebound.
Dude, it's crazy.
Minus some compression.
I'll literally send him a picture and be like, "Hey, this was the temperature. This was the pressure I left off of the warmers. It was this right off the warmers, hot. Da da da." And then he'll be like, "Oh, looks like you're a half a pound over in the rear," or it'll be like, "Yeah, you might want to take out 1 click of compression or whatever it is." Like I know on the RSV4, I had some weird issue with the tire, and I said, "Here's a pressure, et cetera, et cetera." And he's like, "Yeah, put another 2 millimeters of height in the back." Did that. Fucking tire wore perfect. I was like, holy shit. Like, it's unbelievable what this guy does.
I mean, you got to think about it, though, right? Like, if I were powder coating something and I was getting, like, some funky looking stuff or something, there's a good chance I could send you a picture and tell you what I was doing, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's how you screwed up. Change it to this. You know what I mean? Because that's your profession. That's what you do. You know everything about it.
But there's it's different in that compared to a tire where, like, there's several tire brands, several tire compounds. There's different suspensions, new, old fluid. How long have you been on it? Your riding style, how your pace, all this, and how he can like figure that out for anyone around the world without being in person too. And I'm not saying it might not be like exact, but it's close enough, like damn close, where it's like, Jesus, that's crazy.
I mean, I'm sure like he'll look at a tire and it'll have whatever wear pattern it has, right? And he knows what that wear pattern is. He's like, that wear pattern, for example, is from too much heat.
Right.
These are the 3 ways I can combat too much heat. Let's try one of them. Let's try the other one. Let's try the other one. Or like the front end. I had a really bad problem with my GSXR for not for a long time, but for a couple days, where it was just shredding the front end. So it was shredding the front end. So like the ride height was wrong. I needed to pull the front end up.
Yeah, it was pushing it.
And then I pulled it up too far, and then the bike just turned like shit. Like it didn't want to handle. It just felt lazy and everything like that. And so like I start inching it back down, and it starts feeling better, and then it starts tearing the tire, and so I start inching back up, and not inching as in inches. That's just what I'm saying, right? But like you said earlier, you know, you're like 3 mils, 5 mils, 2 mils, and it's like it's starting to feel better, and then it's starting to tear itself up again. So like, what am I doing wrong here? Like, do I just have to ride a numb feeling front end to keep the tire, or like, how do I fix this? What can I do?
Well, then it goes into where you were messing with the front, but now you can adjust the back too, right?
So I actually went and talked to, is it Velarda or something like that? Velocity Calibrations. Eric.
Calibrations,
Is it Eric?
Yeah, Eric. Yep.
He was there. And I talked to him and everything, and he was like, "Yeah, that kind of happens on those. Try this, this, and this." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And you know, gave it a try. But that would be my guess. Is he sees it and he's like, "This is what causes that. How can we fix that?" You know, we've got this to fix it, that to fix it, and this to fix it. So let's try it. Add a PSI. Try that. No, okay. Take a little preload out. No, okay. Add a little rebound compression, or rebound or compression, or whatever it is. Suspension's crazy, man. Like, it's awesome, but there's so much to it. Like, there's so much more to suspension than 99% of people know.
Yeah, and like it's super interesting to me,
especially like on a bike. Like, suspension on a bike is kind of weird because suspension on a car, like at a racetrack, like everything makes sense. Like, I don't know. It's weird on a bike because you don't have body roll or anything like that. So it's not like, you know, the front right tire is getting abused on this track because, you know, it's constant left turns or something like that. It's like, well, your forks travel together.
Right.
Your rear shock compresses, and then the bike kind of leans over. Like, you know, it's kind of weird on a bike.
Nathan, yeah, that'd be cool, man. Actually, get with me, send me a message. I don't know how late you're up tonight, but like when we wrap up with this, send me a message. I'll talk to you about some other stuff too, but just kind of pick your brain on something for idea here. And but yeah, that'd be awesome to do that. Where's this shop at? Do you know?
I do. And I don't. I'll just tell you real quick.
It's in, like, near. Is it outside Columbus?
No, I thought it was. I thought it was
Dayton.
Closer.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Dayton?
Dayton?
Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say I thought it was around Dayton, but.
So yeah, that'd be cool, man. We'll talk. Shoot me a message after, and we can chat a little bit about some stuff. But yeah, heck yeah, man. All right. Anyways, yeah. Get back to before we get, because we're kind of one of the things we were talking about today anyway was track day stuff, how to get into it, etc. What do you need? What are the basics? What you need to know, etc. But we'll finish up. Yeah, I get the oven still coming together. I had some issues with the burn box. I have to modify that a little bit and do a couple things. Yep, no problem, Nathan. Thanks for tuning in and listening, and we appreciate anybody that's listening and hanging out with us. So, yeah, so that's still going, but I had to kind of take a break on that to start, finishing up some of these jobs and stuff. So, and I got some other jobs coming in as well. So I'm just trying to get some things in and out, and then I'll probably, I'm still working on the oven as I go, but I'll probably hit it a little bit harder during our Christmas shutdown area. So that'll give me a little bit more time, and I'm sure we'll probably work on your ceiling again or your dyno room. I want to get that done because I'm excited to see how that's going to look, so we can start doing some really cool videos and stuff in there, and some.
I mean,
some
for
cool
sure,
stuff.
That would look nice, but I kind of want to be warmer. It's not bad, but it's It's not this. Yours is always like 75 in here.
Yeah, but I've burned a lot more pellets than you have too. So, anyways, so
Who's our guest? Who's watching right now?
chime in. Just shoot us a chat, and let's see who's here right now. I know Matt's here. Matt's got to be.
Oh, yes. Of course, Matt's here. He's lingering.
He's always in the background.
He was talking to me about that laptop the other day. I was like, oh, my God, man. That thing is sweet.
Yeah, that thing's nasty. Okay, so come on.
All right. Well, we got viewers, but they don't have keyboards, so.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Shoot us a message. You got questions. We got answers.
I can answer anything you want.
Doesn't mean it's going to be right, but we can answer anything you want. Yeah, so had what I brought up. Well, first of all, before we get way deep into that stuff, because I know we'll go way into it, I sent you that link, SDK, coming to Superbike.
Yeah.
Moto America is going to be I can't wait for it, man. It's going to be fantastic this year.
It's cool and it's not, because I had this just, subtle dream that now that there's an American team and SDK's in Moto 2, like, oh, maybe he'll get picked up for,
GP.
and he'll be riding in Aprilia and GP, and we'll have an American rider on an American team.
Yeah,
and
nah.
that all went out the door when I saw that,
Yeah, well, is what it is. I'm looking forward to some exciting racing on our soil. We'll see.
There really is so many big dogs going to be on the Superbike grid.
Yeah, and we don't even know the full grid yet. I mean, some of it's still speculation and whatnot, but
yeah.
So back to track day stuff. So okay, yeah, it'll be basically, how do you get into track days? If you're interested in them, where do you start, right? So first thing is start looking to figure out what tracks are near you. What are good tracks? If you know anybody that has done track days or not, you can always ask online, Facebook, etc. Ask us. We're more than happy to point you in the right direction. But locate a track, and then you can figure out what organizations are putting these events on. So, for instance, Mid-Ohio has their own basically organization. It's just the Mid-Ohio Race School, right?
Yep.
Nelson Ledges is done by Fast Tracks, which is the organization that I ride with. If you're close to Pittsburgh International Race Complex, it's going to be N2 or Evolve GT. And if it's like, let's see some other ones. You have Putnam in Indiana, which is going to be done by Fastline, and I think as well Indy Ducati, basically Carmoto, they do some stuff there as well. Then there's what I'm just forgetting one. In Michigan, Grattan. Grattan is STT. So like Ed2, STT, Evolve, all these organizations, they do, and Fastline as well, they do several different tracks, right? But like Mid-Ohio only does Mid-Ohio. Fast Tracks only does Nelson Ledges. So we're kind of locked into those ones. But these bigger organizations like N2 or Evolved or Sport Bike Track Time, they go to different areas, so you can literally go onto any of their web pages and you can see the tracks that they do and the cost of those and et cetera. And they will also have the next thing you kind of need to know is once you figure out where you're going to go, what you need and what time you need to be there. So it'll give you the time frame of when the gates open, when tech is. when the meetings are and when.
It's pretty much the standard in the morning for like every organization. Like you get there early, get your stuff set up. If you paid online, then you go just check in. If it's an organization that allows you to like walk up and pay, then you can walk up. If there's a spot, you pay. You usually got an hour or so to hang out, look around, find out what's going on. But then there's always the morning meeting, right? The track meeting. Sometimes the organizations differ. Some of them will do like a massive meeting, and then some of them will break it up into you're gonna go meet with your intermediate coach, your novice coach, and your advanced coach, because you're gonna have different rules per class. But they're always gonna go over like what the flags are. And they're going to tell you there's corner workers out there. You got to look for the corner workers. Some organizations will wave yellow flags at you to show you where they are and stuff. But those morning meetings are going to go over all kind of the bulk of everything you need to know, so that you're not kind of like walking into something and you're like, oh, do I ride out now? Do I not? They'll tell you how to get onto the track. Like Mid-Ohio, there's two entrances that you could go down to get in pit lane. One of them is at the end of pit lane, so you don't want to do that one. And so they have you take the one, in the beginning, right. And they tell you where that is, and they explain, go down there, turn left, go get in line. So those morning meetings will go over everything. So, yeah, most of the organizations are very similar in that aspect.
You definitely want to... excuse me. I just sat on my... you definitely want to get on there and see their rules for gear and also for tech, what you need for your bike, because all organizations are a little bit different. I mean, I always thought they were very, very similar, but that's totally not true. Some organizations, require that you either safety wire or put silicone on your drain plug and stuff. But like I've seen some, if you're in novice, you don't really need to do that, or certain things. There's actually a group, I can't remember the name of the company now, and they usually run like a Monday, Tuesday at Pitt. And when I was up there for that private day, they had one. They had 20 minutes out of the hour. We had the other 40 minutes, and it was a huge group. And they had Harleys. I mean, they had baggers. They had. I mean, you name any kind of bike. I mean, there were some track bikes there, but there were also just whatever. And these were. It was just very oriented towards beginners, and they did have some rules, but there were still people with mirrors and stuff as well. So like each organization will have a little bit different approach to the tech. And you just want to make sure that your bike is clean, maintain, no oil leaking, nothing falling off of it, stuff, because they're going to fail you at tech. So just make sure
a general rule is just don't have a thing falling apart.
Right.
It's got to be safe to ride.
Right.
You can't be dropping things. You can't have loose this, loose that. The chain can't be falling off. It can't be locked up with rusted links. You have to have brake pad material on there. The coolant's one of those things that's right? Like some of them are happy with water, some of them are happy with water wetter, some of them are happy with engine ice. None of them are happy with coolant.
That's not true.
Well, I guess maybe, but
novice and fast tracks, you're allowed to run coolant. I don't understand why, but whatever. Yeah, there was just thinking about this. You're talking about a bike that's kind of a whatever. We had a guy one time at Fast Tracks, and I mean, was the bike kind of ratted out? Yes, but it went through tech. It wasn't nothing that was like, okay, you cannot ride this bike.
Right. I mean, there's like a ratted out track bike.
He broke his swing arm broke.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was an older steel frame and steel swing arm bike.
Wow.
And I don't know what happened, but the thing, it freaking broke, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. It was wild. But yeah, so
but yeah, the website will have a tech list, and it'll break it down for you, and it'll say you have to safety wire the drain plug. You have to safety wire the fill plug. You have to safety wire your radiator cap, Whatever it has, whatever you need to do, it'll tell you. Same thing with gear. Like, novice, you might just be allowed to wear a suit and you're good to go. But in intermediate and advanced, you need to have a standalone back protector in there. I know that's the case at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, and usually novice, you can get away with a 2-piece. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be leather. It can be Cortex, as long as it zips together. But like, you know, full-length boots and gauntlet gloves are a must in pretty much every organization. And then, you know, a helmet that's...
a good helmet.
Yeah, a helmet that's in good shape, that's not fucking cracked or whatever.
And well, that kind of goes for the gear, too. Like, you can't have holes in your suit and stuff like that. Right. Like, if you have this little nick or something in the shoulder or, like, above some armor, like, that's maybe okay. But, like... You know, we run the OMRL, the, you know, little mini bikes, and
that's duct tape city.
Yeah, like, because you wreck all the time. Like you wreck 4 times a night or something like that, you know. And so you always have like holes in the back part of the suit and stuff from sliding. So you can't have that.
Yeah,
you know.
It's got an OMRL, but
yeah, OMRL, but you know, you're falling off at 15 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour.
That's true.
Not 120.
Whenever those things. So, what do you recommend? And maybe I'll chime in with stuff that, you know, maybe that you don't say. But what do you say are your must-haves for your? You know, you've never done it before. You've never been to a track before. You've never been to a track day before. What are the must-have things to bring with you?
Well, first and foremost is water. Or some kind of hydration, because not all orgs will provide stuff for you. I mean, a lot of them don't. Like, some of them will have concessions and stuff like that where you can go buy overpriced stuff. But, like, it's not like you're just going out for a cruise with your buddies. I mean, think about, like, when you were playing sports in high school or something. Like, you're going to work. You're going to be drenched in sweat. Like, it's going to be hot out. You need to stay hydrated or you're going to get sick. You're going to get headaches. You're going to make mistakes. Like,
you're wrapped in a cowl. So
yeah. So, like, first and foremost, you got to take care of yourself. Indeed. You know, good snacks, you know, trail mix, stuff like that. Water, Gatorade, Powerade, all that good stuff. Like, I've seen so many people do it, and I'm sure you're one of them, but, like, guys that are out there just pounding energy drinks, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I switch between the two, but yes.
It's like, let me drink an energy drink, and then I'll have a quarter bit of water, and then another one, and I mean, you know, to each his own, but.
No, I mean, it's definitely not good. You don't get dehydrated, but, you know, when you do it for so long and you know. You know what I mean? Like, I hydrate the day before. If you're not hydrating the day before, drinking water and stuff, that's, you know, or beginning of the day, it's too late almost.
Now, I do see a lot of guys that'll drink like a Monster in the morning as kind of like their coffee.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're, you know, drinking water and stuff like that for the rest of the day, which, I mean, that's totally understandable, but I just can't. I mean, there's people that do it, and you're probably one of them, but I can't. I'm like, if I get thirsty, I don't want to drink an energy drink, you know? Like, I want to consume water or a Powerade or something.
Yeah, I'm very guilty of that, and that's one of the things that start of the new year I'm gonna, and it's not like a New Year's resolution because I think that's just a dumb, you know, topic on it. Then you'll break it anyways. But that's one of the things I'm trying to cut out as much as I possibly can.
So, like, I would say take care of yourself. You know, get some sleep and bring some snacks, some water, stuff like that. It's always better with a friend too. Like, even if your friend doesn't come to ride, he can help you out, like, if you have a garage and whatnot. It's always more fun with a friend.
For sure.
So, you know, and that's obviously aside from making sure you don't have a clapped out bike and stuff like that.
Yes. I would say on top of that, too, you know, a canopy of some sort is always good to have. That way, when you know, that in a camping chair of some sort, that way when you get back to, you know, from your session or whatever, you have a nice shaded place to sit underneath and, you know, place to sit or whatever. There's if
you don't mind spending the money, the garages are nice.
Yeah,
like, I love being in a garage.
Garages, right? For sure. So sometimes that's not available. But yeah, all those things, you know, getting out of the shade, that's great. And then, like he said, you know, water, but, you know, snacks, you know, a little bit of snacks or whatever here and there. And then, you know, good snacks, you know, stuff that's going to fill you up and not be, you know, dehydrate you, like sugar stuff or whatever.
Salt. You need salt. Like, it's crazy. Like, I didn't know that at first.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know you needed to consume like salt to stay hydrated, but like
to retain water. Yes.
yeah, but like you do. So, some little it's crazy what a lot of guys will do is like Mark put me onto this. He's got the little salt packets, from like whatever McDonald's or something, those little tiny salt packets. And he'll just like throw back a couple salt packets and then keep drinking water. I was like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea at all. I like the electrolyte packets. I forget I can't remember the ones I use now, but that are like, dude, Pedialyte in the morning, like, which is kind of was the go-to before there was like Pedialyte Sport or Gatorlyte, but Pedialyte I think actually is probably one of the better ones.
Yeah,
and you can get like the off-brand, whatever, dollar store brand, but that stuff's really good too. And then what else? What other things are kind of must-haves?
I'm pretty bad. I don't take much. I mean, I've got
a couple tools, right? Like most of the time, I think you can walk around the paddock and find about any tool you need. But if you have, certain things, right, like a tire pressure gauge, a small air pump, even a bicycle pump is great.
Yeah, the bike pumps actually work really well.
Yeah,
because usually you're just fluctuating
a
2
couple
psi
pounds,
here, 2 psi there. So like it's nothing to put a bike pump on and put that into it,
Some Allen wrenches or whatever. Anything that's specific for your bike that's, just a couple little hand tools, just stuff like that to bring with you, just in case you have a loose bolt or whatever. You don't think about it, but, when you're riding around that track and the RPMs are going to stuff, shit starts vibrating. If you haven't Loctited stuff will back out. And, make sure you check those things. In tech, they're going to check most of the, the rear sets and brakes and stuff like that for you. But it's still one of those things to just, have with you just in case you need to retighten something. Because, the last thing you want to do is have something like a lever fall off. One, as you're riding, that's bad, right? If you have a brake lever or a clutch lever or a shifter. Hopefully you don't crash, but if you get off track and, that's the end of your day.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people will have parts and stuff, but if not,
if you have an R6, you're fine.
Yeah. If you have anything European, you're screwed.
Yeah. You get you an 08 to 16 R6. I mean, even the newer ones, an 08 plus R6, and it doesn't matter. You could throw it down the road and split the frame in half, and somebody there is going to have a frame like in the back of their truck.
Oh, that's like legitimately.
That is the most popular bike at track days, and everybody has spare parts for it. So that's a nice one to be on, just because and not just the parts, the community's there. If you're having some kind of issue or something like that, 15 other guys are riding that same bike. So you just go ask them, like,
right,
man, this thing turns like shit. What do you have? What's done to your bike? How's it set up? Or my bike's doing this. Has yours ever done that? Like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should look at that. So you definitely don't want to show up with like an MV Agusta or something. Like, nobody's gonna, like, unless you've mastered it, like, you can't ask anybody for advice. Like,
right,
hey, I've got this F3 and it doesn't turn very good. Like, cool, go buy an R6.
Yeah. Well, if you're just starting out, you're just trying to learn how to ride, around the track to begin with. So it's a different thing. But so we kind of covered, what you need or what we recommend to bring with you, where to find track stuff, and what to get started. Kind of went over a little bit of the gear, etc.
But back on that gear, do make sure you check, because again, like, most of them you have to have that standalone back protector, so not the foam piece that comes in the backs. Because like most of the suits you buy will have like that foam insert that's like stuck like inside the suit.
Right.
That is a back protector, but that doesn't qualify as a back protector, right? Like, I mean, I can't say for all of them, but like Mid Ohio, Track Day winner, those, like, you need to have the standalone one, right? Like one that you put on yourself and then you put your suit on around it, right?
Right.
It's got a built, its spine, so keeps you from breaking your back and whatnot.
So yeah, that's like kind of novice stuff. So, how about since you have coached, and I still do, and you probably, you could if you wanted to, I assume, Mark would welcome you back in. But we kind of touched on this a couple times before and stuff, but like, what do you recommend for, intermediate riders to get the best out of their weekend?
Intermediate is tricky. Intermediate's going to be the hardest one because intermediate is just a free-for-all. Like, intermediate, you've got out of novice, you're like, hell yeah, I'm doing good. Let's go have fun and see what I can do. It's not follow the leader anymore, and it's so easy to get yourself in trouble. So, like, an intermediate rider, just go out and keep doing basically what you've been doing in novice. Like, don't try to ride over your head. Just, like, progress. Go out there and just ride your laps. Don't try to do anything special that you haven't been doing. Because that's what happens in intermediate. Like I said, the guys get out of novice. There's no more follow the leader. They're on their own. Or they might be, like, racing with a buddy of theirs or something. Right. And then you're just blowing corners and, messing. You don't. A lot of the guys just, like, completely lose the line. Right? Like, they go into intermediate and it's just the line is gone.
Right.
And they're just, like, riding.
And so, and take advantage of the coaches out there. Because, like, in intermediate, as the coaches or control riders is more probably a better term for it. But, we're out there running around, just making sure people aren't being retarded and doing something stupid.
Being unsafe.
Yeah, being unsafe, right? And more so in intermediate than advanced. Advanced is kind of like, we'll keep an eye out and stuff, but for the most part, most of those guys are doing what they're supposed to do and having clean lines and stuff. So, sometimes you will get picked up by a coach or a control rider and be like, hey, follow me, I'm going to show you a line or whatever. But if you're out there and you're riding pretty clean, but you're feeling like, man, I would like to, improve, like, instead of just going out there and riding your laps and trying to figure it out, go ask for somebody, go up to the director of the organization or find a coach and be like, hey, I'm intermediate. Is there any way that I can have anybody, help me out, kind of follow me or pull me around or whatever? Like, have them point you in the direction of the certain person first. If it's, that person you're talking to, cool. If it's somebody else, whatever, go talk to them and say, hey, here's where I'm struggling, whatever. Is there any way you can help me out? And they should be, at least I am always happy to help, and I'll say, hey, maybe I already have somebody I'm working with for this next session, but hey, get with me on the following session or whatever it is. Maybe they don't have anybody they're really doing anything with, because a lot of times what I see is like people are very apprehensive to come up and ask for help. There are the few that do, which is great, and those are usually the people that will improve a little bit quicker because they're asking for the help. They're being a little bit more humble on stuff and, asking for the help and being able to figure out some stuff by getting that help. So definitely take advantage of that and, just ask. There's, like most people say, there's no stupid questions. I mean, actually there kind of is, but, the control riders and stuff, they're always, for the most part, for myself at least, and for certain organizations, maybe a little bit different. You may have, different feedback from different people or different organizations. But I know with Fast Tracks, we're always willing to help. Like, if it's somebody that can't quite help you out, they're going to point you to a direction to somebody who can. So,
yeah, and if like a control rider picks you up while you're out riding, it's not like you're in trouble or something like that. Right. I mean, you can be. And like,
usually they'll pull you right off track if that happens.
Like, if you're in trouble, you're in trouble, right? Like, you've done something and you did something. You probably like double checking, looking around like, did anybody see that? Whoops, I dived under that guy and stood him up and, sorry. But if they pick you up, usually it's just like, hey man, just follow me. I'm going to help you clean up your lines and I'm going to show you, like, you're totally screwing up turn 3. Come with me. I'll show you how to do turn 3, And it's usually just a couple laps, Yeah. They'll just say, hey, follow me, I'll tap my tail, follow me. We'll do 2 laps and then go on your way. I showed you what I need to show you. Implement it. Right.
And like a lot of times, I do it one of 2 ways, but if you do end up following a coach or whatever, and he doesn't, afterwards come see you or whatever, go see him.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be able to see what leathers they're wearing and what bike they're on. And generally they're going to, when they get off track, they're going to be putting their warmers on and stuff. So they're going to be wherever their setup is. But a lot of times what I like to do is, like if I do 2 laps or something, either I'll, if I'm like, okay, everything's good, whatever, I give them a thumbs up and then I'm out. Or sometimes if the point didn't get across what I was trying to kind of show them, I'll wave to them and pull them, and we'll go into hot pit, and I'll say, hey, boom, put up my visor and say, hey, here's this is why I was pulling you around on this corner or whatever. Let's go out again for a couple laps, and then afterwards I'll come find you.
Yeah.
So give them a little bit more direction if they need it. So
usually what I like to do is if they get the point, give them a thumbs up. If they don't, I just give them an elation, I just scoot over to them. I just slap them on the helmet.
Yeah, that'll get the point across.
Yeah, I start waving my hands and cursing and.
Okay, and then for guys in advance, what can they do to make the most of their weekend?
Yeah, so usually the guys that are in advanced are smart, at least, and they've been riding for a decent amount of time. Advanced is a little weird too, because you have guys that are trying to prove something, and then you have guys that just like enjoy riding and they're fast and clean and everything like that. Usually everybody is decently clean. I mean, they're sparkling clean compared to intermediate, right? Like,
oh God, yeah,
sparkling clean there. But like, there's a difference between doing a track day and doing like a race practice, right? So like, if you go to like that's going to happen this year at Mid Ohio, right?
Yeah.
So people are going to be like hitting up Mid Ohio to do like a race practice, and so you're going to go to a track day, and I mean, it's happened at NCM a bunch of times. Like you go to a track day, right, and you're at NCM and you're an advanced rider, and you're like, heck yeah, I'm doing good, and then you realize Hayden Gillum's standing beside you, and you're like, this guy's, he gets paid to do this.
Yeah, you watch and learn is what you do.
He's won, and so you got to be a little careful with that. Just it's their responsibility, right? But you got to be a little careful. Like this dude's 12 seconds, 14 seconds a lap faster than you, But advanced is just it's up to the person, because if you're in advanced, you're kind of fast enough where you don't really need to work on the line so much. Like, yeah, you're always going to have things that you can, make better or not. But it's like, okay, do you want to like really keep pushing the envelope because like you're not really trail braking that deep, right? Like, sure, you got your line good and you got a fast bike and your corner exit's not bad, but if you want to go faster, you've got to start risking it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I see advance. Like, there's guys that want to keep risking it and pushing. And it's tricky because sometimes there's guys in advance that are just faster than the coaches.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. 100%.
Like, and
especially
obviously
if different bikes and stuff too. You get a guy on a V4R and a guy on like a SV650. That's
exactly.
And it's like, that's a disparaging amount of difference in mile per hour.
Yeah, so usually like it's if they want something, they'll seek you out.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, you're just making sure nobody dies, right? Because so even at Mid Ohio, we don't let you go to the inside, like do an inside pass at the kink on the back straight.
Right, just safety concern stuff.
Yeah, it's just you're going 160 miles an hour there on a 1,000cc bike. Yeah, everybody's in advance, but like you don't want anybody to come close to each other or get scared and drive off into the grass or something like that. Yeah, you're just kind of making sure, but like, everybody's safe. Like nobody's doing that. Nobody's diving underneath you at the kink or something.
Right.
But it's hard because again, you're not really showing them the line or anything like that. They have to like want something that you can offer. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's just everybody's kind of out there just playing.
Right. And I would say, if you're like getting into intermediate and you're getting pretty quick, or you're getting close to getting bumped advanced, like. One of the best, like I held off for so long not buying one, but one of the best tools you can have is a lap timer. And, an AIM Solo or an AIM Solo DL. The DL is a little bit more expensive, and if you have capabilities to like pull some data off your ECU, it's pretty cool. I mean, I can do that on mine. That's what I have set up on mine, and like it's a lot of information, and a lot of it is I have no idea what I'm looking at. But just being able to have, that your lap time in general, but there's a nice app you can download on your phone will actually show you going around the track, and it'll show your, when you're accelerating or decelerating. And it doesn't have to be the DL where you actually see, throttle input or whatever. You could just see acceleration, deceleration via the GPS. So
just on the standard one, you can view all of that. You just don't get engine data.
Right. And I mean, it's a little bit hard to see on the actual aim. So but it's nice having that little app. It's called, let me see what it's called.
Race Studio?
No, this is a third-party app, but because Race Studio is on your PC, and it's a little bit more like, okay, well, I gotta bring my laptop and stuff. But if you want something that's like instant without having to try to look at it and scroll through on the 4-button system that's on the aim, you can download this. It's called Lap Snap. And you can hook up to it, and it'll bring up the track and off Google Maps, whatever, and kind of break it down and show you speed, deceleration, acceleration, your split times, all that stuff. And it's if you have a buddy that's there with you too, you guys can actually share and compare those lap times and see where he's getting on the brakes versus where you are, or how much corner speed they're carrying, or whatever it is, and then you can start to dissect that a little bit. And but just lap times alone, just doing a track day, if you're trying to get faster and faster, and you don't know what kind of laps you're pulling, all you're doing is trying to compare yourself to somebody else.
So I have an unpopular opinion on that, so I'll let you finish, then come back.
Well, it's not like chasing a time, but seeing that okay, well, the last time I was here, you can scroll through and see, okay, well, I did a whatever it is. Let's say it's NCM. It's okay, I did a 210. And then the next time you go there, it's not like you're consistently looking at that lap time, but at the end of the day, you look and go, oh, shit, I did a 204.
Yeah.
And then, you can say, well, how did I do that? So you can go look at your 210 lap and look at your 204 lap and make that comparison and be like, okay, here's where I made those improvements.
Yeah.
Either it was, consistent overall higher mile per hour average, or was it, I made up more time in this sector, this corner, because I was carrying more corner speed, whatever it was. So it's nice to have those just to see that progress, and then also give you something to shoot for next time. So okay, I did a 204. So next time I come, obviously I'm not going to be dropping 6 seconds, because the lower the time gets, the less time that you start to make up, or you're going to make as big a leaps. But, set a goal for yourself. Okay, well, the end of the day or the end of the weekend, I want to run a 103. It's a 1 second improvement. And you can kind of try to figure out where you can find those improvements. And it's a little bit better than just going out, and just doing laps and you have no clue. I mean, so
for sure. So I definitely think having a lap timer is great. It's a super, super good tool. But for example, you've got your solo mounted up there, right? And everything. Put a piece of painter's tape over it. Everybody gets so excited. Like lap times are like bench pressing in high school. Everybody's like, bro, what lap time you run? Oh, I did this lap time. I did that lap time. People get really, really concerned about it. And then they'll start looking at it through the track. They'll be like, oh, by turn 3, I was at 30 seconds, now I'm at 28, awesome, I'm doing but you shouldn't be paying attention to that at all. But it's very hard not to.
I would strongly agree with that, because the last whatever time I was at NCM, I remember this very vividly, going around the track and across the finish line, whatever, and then right after that is a right left. So that's
right. You see it, and you're like, oh, I did a 202. Oh my god, turn right.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you've screwed the first sector up.
Yeah,
because you were looking at your track time.
But I didn't look at it then. I did look at it later on when I got into a straightaway.
Yeah,
it'll show what your last best lap was if you have it set up that way, whatever. But I was like, shit,
but you're also a seasoned rider. You know that okay. After turn 3 at NCM, I got a nice straight, right? I can take a second, look at my lap timer, see what we did, focus back up on the track and go.
Yeah.
Right? But a novice rider, well, not so a new rider to track, not necessarily novice, they could be an intermediate, or they could even be an advanced. Some track day orgs are really bad about just moving guys. They're
100%.
Oh, you've got an S1000 and, you can muscle out a decent lap with your electronics and stuff. Okay, get out of this class. We need to make room for other people, and so not just novice, but you'll get guys that aren't, they don't have that experience, and so they'll be trying to look at it and they'll be like, well, let me look at it here. Oh my god, I'm going through a chicane. Whoops, my bad.
And I don't even, although that is a very, very terrible thing, and a very good point, 100%. That's not what my issue was. My issue was like, I could check it. It wasn't no problem. But I saw that, okay, well, I did a 2.0 whatever, like at NCM, right? I did a 1 or a 159. I'm like, dude, I want that 158. So what did I do? I tried mentally, pushed harder. Well, I just put in worse laps.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I want to get that. So then when I didn't focus on that, I was like, shit, man, I'm just screwing up. I'm just going to just go easy, whatever. Then, 2 laps later, all of a sudden, boom, I hit a 158.
Yeah.
Not trying. It's like, when you see it and you're trying to go after it, it doesn't come together.
Like that exact scenario happened to me. And I got a cheap lap timer. This had to have been like my second year track riding or something like that. Like it was really early into it. And it was on my CBR. And we were at Mid-Ohio, and we were out running in advance, just kind of playing, And we get back, and it had a 36 on it. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I ran a 36 just playing? Like,
right.
That's killer. I'm going to go out and do a 34. And then I put the peg into the ground in the keyhole and then just, did like 3 spins into the dirt.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I did a 36 not trying. I'm going to go faster. And then you go out there and you just throw everything at it and then you just wreck.
Yeah, because, most of the time, that's the thing. When you're trying to do it on the fly, you don't know where to make up the time. So where do you want to make up the time? Oh, I'm getting on the gas harder and quicker.
Yeah, I'm going to make it up everywhere.
Yeah, which is it's just like, okay, that's a bad situation, So you end up doing things and exceeding your skill set or whatever, like, braking too late. And then, you're not prepared for it just because you're trying to, like, rush it, and it ends up being a really bad situation. But
how many times have you heard Malachar tell somebody they're charging a corner?
A lot, yeah. But yeah, so but still, a lap timer is a great piece of equipment to use to get better if you utilize it the correct way. A good
GPS one, the cheap ones. The little cheap ones are cool, like, if you just want to run it one day and just, like, see, plus or minus 3 seconds kind of where you were, right? Like, oh, I'm in the 50s. No, cool, I just kind of wanted to see.
100%, like, the best one on the market, and I've had a Starlane, I've had a cheaper one, I've had, like, phone-based ones, like, there's a Racebox now, but I've had several, and the AIM, by far, is the easiest to use, the most reliable. It always picks a track up. It always picks a lap up. It's very expansive as far as hooking it to your computer if you want to like pull data, but there's also that Lap Snap app. If you have a GoPro or anything that's GPS based, you can actually overlay like lap data from it onto your GoPro because it'll sync up with what the GPS recorded for that. So there's so many advantages of it, and it just works really, really, really well. The thing is,
I don't know what gen you have, but like the newer ones, like they're like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or whatever, and like so you can just pull in if your laptop's like turned on, and you can just download them. You don't have to like plug the cable in and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're all Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, and that same thing, the way the Lap Snap works. So basically, you're hooked to it via Wi-Fi, and you go, okay, here's the laps. Okay, download that lap, and it'll give you all that information. So very cool thing. So yeah, we covered that. Like I said, they're fantastic. Definitely worth it. I wish I would have got one earlier, just to have some of that. Just the lap time in itself would have been helpful. But
they're worth it to look at the data to get better. Like if you want to talk about your bench press numbers, then don't bother with them. Right. You're wasting your money.
So now going over advanced, et cetera. And now it's you're right. You've ridden advanced, and now you're like, you know what? I think I'd like a little bit of competition. How do I get into racing? Do you know? Or no, or yes, no. I can kind of delve into it a little bit if you want me to.
So, like, obviously you have to get the race license. Yeah. So you have to find an org or an independent school. Like, a lot of orgs will do a school within the org.
Yep.
So your, like, Fast Tracks probably does.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And they usually do it, like, so we do it. I don't know how other ones are, but I think N2, or no, I don't know if N2 does or not, but I know, like, so for instance, Wiro will put them on as well, but Fast Tracks, we have them twice a year, and that's because we host the Weira races at Nelson twice a year. So the Friday before will be the race school. So there'll be, there is no novice the day before a race. It's always intermediate advance. So we'll have intermediate advance and then race school. Race school is, ours is really easy. We go out, it's classroom every time you come off the track, but most of the time it's an open track type situation. Learning a couple things, but in the end, the big thing at the end is we do some mock races and mock starts and stuff, and just kind of going over those basic things. And I have not given the course, but I've been in it, and it's whatever it is. But once you get that, you basically get a piece of paper that says, "Hey, you've completed this," and then when you're done, you take it to either ASRA or whatever organization that you're running with. Mine's Weira. And when you sign up for your first race weekend, you're provisional novice, and you have to do 2 separate days without crashing in order to get out of being a provisional novice. Matt didn't do that, I'll tell you that. Neither did Hayden, actually.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that for Hayden.
But when you go up, you pay for your membership and stuff, and you have to choose a number, etc. And then you get a provisional license, and then if you complete your 2 weekends, then they're going to send out your actual real card license, and you'll be a novice and need yellow number plate, etc. But it's pretty easy, and then it's.
Matt said I was winning till I didn't.
Yeah.
Was he in a provisional race when he drove went left off the track?
Yeah, that was Sunday. So Saturday he went in and he was first race ever in 600 class, which is the meat grinder. It's the biggest class that races in most organizations. He was in practice the times, I can't remember what it was. It wasn't crazy. But I remember there was a certain person that was like, "Oh, you get it, man, whatever." Came out of the first race, and Matt, was putting in better lap times than this dude. And this guy has, raced quite a bit or whatever. And then, so he was running very, top of the pack in 600. And then on Sunday, it was man, he went out there and, dude, he was running behind the last, or there was maybe 2 experts behind him. So he was up into experts, and he sent it just a little too hard. And that was kind of the end of that bike, or most of that bike. But yeah, that was cool. Me and Matt actually started racing together. It was kind of his idea for the most part. Dude, we should just start racing. Okay. Fun. But it's fun, and it's fun, and it isn't, because it's expensive.
It's very expensive.
You get not a lot of time on track. It's for an 8-lap race, and it depends on how it's structured. Whereas if you buy one race with one class or whatever, you can usually ride whatever. If you have a 600, you can usually ride that in 2 or 3 different classes, right? There's super sport and super stock, etc.
Yeah.
But the more you sign up for, the cheaper they get. But still, it's if you do, let's say you do 3 races, you're going to use tires up, obviously. A whole set might last you a weekend if you're lucky, depending on your skill set and pace and whatever.
And bike.
Yeah, bike too, bigger bike, whatever.
Thousands of murder tires.
But you're looking at for one day, 3 8-lap races, and then 2 20 or 15-minute practices. It's almost $400 or so. And if you don't have a transponder, you're renting a transponder, it's another $50. And if you haven't signed up for the membership for the year, you got to pay for that, and it all adds up, man. That's why I don't race a lot, because just in general, the travel expense, and then you add up whatever, and then you get, I have quite a few of them there, but it's just a piece of aluminum, plaque that says if you place.
I think it's more of just an experience thing, right? It's just fun to go out there and race. You're not really racing, you get a plaque, right? But those don't really mean much because like you could have been in the 40 and over, you know.
That's a tough class, trust me. I thought I was going to go into that like that. No, they're big, fast bikes.
But like, you know, you can get into those classes where it's like, well, yeah, there's 36 people out here, but like there's 3 people in mine.
Yeah, and sometimes, honestly, you know, like certain ones that are kind of the more, not really exotic, but like rare class, you know, could be like older bikes within the CC or whatever. There might be one guy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and it's usually an old guy. Yeah. And he's just going out there.
He's running around like on his V8 heavyweight, right? Like the V8 heavyweight class, right? Like he's like, I've got my 04 GSXR. And I love to ride it, and that's just what I'm going to ride.
Right.
And it sucks, but I love it, and I'm going to ride it.
He just goes out there. He gets his plaque. He didn't care about the plaque. He just goes out because he enjoys the sport. He used to race back in the day, whatever. But but no, I mean, the big advantage, at least for me and most of the people that I've seen, is like if you're an advanced track day rider and you're doing, let's say, let's just call Nelson for instance, like, oh, you're on a 600, let's say, and you're running 113s. You get into a race, do not be surprised that you drop 3-4 seconds. Like, you literally will get down to like a 110 because whatever it is, it's just that carrot that you're chasing or whatever.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's when you crash too, because you realize like you're pushing and like you're going through a corner and your front might be like chattering a little bit because you're just trailing so deep and you're like, whew, this is a little sketchy, but like I gotta keep going. Like I can't rest. This isn't a track day. I can't take a breather lap and then get back on it.
Yeah, learned that. I learned that. But yeah, it's super fun, man. Like, but it's so expensive. And but I definitely think that like, you know, if you have any like desire, you need just do it once. I mean, it's super fun, and endurance racing is awesome as well. And we're actually trying to get, you know, when fast tracks, or what's not fast tracks, but what used to be lean, they used to do their own endurance series. I think it was like 4 races or something like that. And it was so much fun because it wasn't the Wira crowd, right? Like, you try to run endurance in Wira, you're getting trounced because you got the Moto America guys, you got Army of Darkness and shit coming out, and like, you ain't winning. And it's not like I want to. It's not like I desire. Like,
did Josh Hayes just pass me? I believe that was Josh Hayes.
And then Mesa and all these guys and whatever. And it's not like I don't care. I know they'd smoke me any day of the week, but it makes it less competitive grid in general.
Yeah.
Because you have so many Moto America guys. But like the lean endurance series it's just a bunch of guys, man. Like you don't even have to have a legit race license. You know, we kind of do our own thing there, or they were doing their own thing, should I say. And, it's just a bunch of advanced riders that it could be older guys, whatever, go out there and have a good time. And it's competitive, but it's not like to that level where there's like a huge money purse involved or like points thing. And like, it was a big deal. So we're trying to get that back. Well, a couple guys that I know are, and I'm actually going to be joining a conversation about that whenever the next one is. And right now it's just down to like, try to pay, gather up the funds for the insurance, because I mean, that's the biggest cost for that. But yeah, it's hopefully we get that back because like I'd be super excited to do that. And like I said, you don't have to have a legitimate race license. I mean, I do. It doesn't really matter, but it's just a bunch of guys going out and having fun, and like the ultra lightweight shit was just so much fun because like those bikes can only go so fast.
Right, of course.
So, and like I had people like, dude, that's got to be so boring, and I had
it's like one step up from OMRL.
It's way bigger than that, but. I mean, I had my buddy. I said, "Dude, you want to go?" And he's like, "I don't, whatever. Yeah, I'll do it with you." And to this day, he's like, "That was the most fun I've had racing in my he had an SV650 and an R6 and whatever, and he's raced all those, and he's like, "This is the most fun I've had racing. Period." And I'm like, "I told you, dude. Like, it's so it's slow, and you could like go down the straights, but like when it's another guy on pretty much the exact same bike, and you're like, who's going to break the latest? But you're only going 90, you know what I mean, down the longest part. So, yeah, it's all about, it's just so evenly matched. And, we do take some risk, but it's not as high risk as, like running with these Moto America guys or whatever, where they're putting some big moves on. We're like, we want to go home later, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was super fun. And if we get that back, everybody needs to come out and do that. If you have a desire to do that, get out with us. Hopefully we figure out a way to make it happen and we get it to go this year. But yeah. And that's on the race side of things, I think. Anything else on track days racing? Anything? No? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
What about some race topics? Superbike, MotoGP, anything you got?
I mean, it's all dwindling down, right? Because the season's over, and they're doing some tests and stuff. Toprak finally got to ride the BMW. He's looking good on it. He likes it. They were saying that Honda was saying, they liked the bike and it was much better. It's Superbike. They liked the bike and it was much better, and they still have revisions and parts to use like that. They didn't bring the A game bike. They brung an upgraded bike, and so Honda changed that CBR 1000, the Fireblade. It is changed up. Like the airbox is different, the cylinder head is different. So the bike itself is a little different. So them just riding the bike, the new bike, they liked it, and then they get to bring in all new HRC parts and stuff like that. Right. So I mean, hopefully Honda will do a little better. It looks like Toprak's going to do good on the BMW. Ray was putting competitive times down in the test with the R1. I mean, we'll see what that equates to in an actual race with the Ducati and stuff. But yeah, GP's kind of like stale right now. They're not doing, we're not out riding tests and whatnot. So it's just kind of like, well, we got to sit here and just read what everybody talks about, people switching teams. And
so the rules next year for MotoGP, the concessions, did you see all those?
I saw that they were doing it, but I didn't go into like the list of them or anything.
Oh man, it's like Honda and Yamaha can like use as many motors as they want all year, unless there's like a significant gain or whatever it is. But yeah, like KTM and Aprilia and Ducati, obviously, they're stuck. Like they get their one engine and that's it. They can't change the engine. Like, I mean, not like they can't use one. Like they have
spec engines. Yeah. They're allowed their 4 or 6 spec engines for the season. Yeah, but
they're all the same. Yeah. Where Honda and Yamaha can just change up and use any iteration they possibly want all year, no limit, go.
Yeah, unless they start winning.
Right.
Then they'll pull it, but they'll pull the concessions. But I don't know. I think concessions are good. I mean, they help keep it competitive. You don't want to watch the same bike win every race over and 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 so on and so forth.
Right. But it'll be interesting to see, how many different variations will both go through the year, and then see it kind of go like up and down a little bit. It's going to be interesting. But
Honda didn't have that bad of an engine though, so I don't know.
No, they didn't. But
their bike was pretty fast. Like it obviously had problems, but as far as trap speed goes, it was pretty fast. The Yamaha sucks, but apparently that's not so much a horsepower thing. It's like chassis and whatnot from what they're saying. So
right,
we'll see, I guess.
What's this thing like?
Is that just staying in there permanently?
No, it's I think this is just way behind. Gotcha. It is live, but I was checking the YouTube live stream. Let's kind of wrap up on that. Not a lot info going on there. Doesn't say anything interesting coming up for either of us. Not that I can think of. We did talk about, which we're going to try to do whenever we get something interesting, but do some video in Jake's shop if he's doing some tuning or whatever it is, something interesting that we can kind of bring up and we can talk to, because I was kind of explaining to him that, like, trying to do live in his shop, especially with dyno tuning, she's be crazy. It's not, you want to be able to hear shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna blow your eardrums out or whatever, and then being able to, it won't be 9. We're also thinking about changing kind of the timing and stuff so we can get a little bit more viewership, because we know, at least for me, I see, people in a work week, whatever, maybe they can hang around for 40 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, besides Matt, our dear, just hanging in their viewership.
I think Matt's all we have right now.
Yeah, probably. And that's usually what happens. But, running this late, there's a lot of people that got to get up and go to work in the morning or whatever. So maybe I'll try to start a poll on Facebook or whatever, be like, hey, what day and time would you guys be interested in? Maybe we'll get spitball a couple, maybe 4 or 5 different days time frames that we can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then put that up, and then just kind of let you guys vote on it, and then maybe also have like a poll for suggestion for topics and stuff we can cover as well. We'd like the interaction to have a little bit. We'd love to have a little bit more interaction, and if maybe change the time frame can do that, that would be great, because we like getting questions, and then that kind of leads us on to going into a couple things a little bit more, and then we'll actually stay on that instead of talking about the racing stuff so much. If you have questions, and it could be I guess bike related, track or race or whatever, but or with our shops or whatever, but that'll kind of get us on that, and then that leaves a little bit less time for the race talk, which is good for this time of year for sure. So
yeah.
But besides that, I think we'll wrap it up. It's gonna be a short one tonight, huh?
Yeah, this will be a short one, which is fine.
Tired?
No, I got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have a 3 a.m. trip to Columbus here
Today?
Yeah.
That sucks, buddy.
It does. I'm not thrilled.
YouTube's easier to stick around on because you can minimize video and leave. Yeah, well, I mean, we do stream it, so, but, and, also, there's a chat on that, and I check that as we go. But yeah, and anybody can watch it later. But, it's just nice to have, if we do, because we're kind of doing this live. Otherwise, we wouldn't. It doesn't matter when we do it. We could just post it. But,
yeah,
YouTube's awesome, or even Facebook, I guess, to come back and look at it later. But yeah, for sure, man. Well, I will, I guess, in closing, if anybody has nothing else, we'll wrap this up so Jake can get his shit figured out and make his 3 a.m. run. Maybe grab a couple hours sleep before you have to do that. And I'm going to actually probably finish some work up here before I take a nap. So, which is basically what I do. I take like 4-hour naps. I mean, I don't get to bed till whenever. But thanks for everybody for tuning in, for those who did. And look on the Facebook page or whatever, because we're going to try to put a poll up for a new time frame maybe. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next week at some point. Anything, Jake?
That's it. Thank you, guys.